Last week, I started to make my way back up north and ended up in my favorite place once again. I was back in the Eastern Sierra, but the journey here was anything but smooth. This is just how it goes sometimes. I think the circumstances of being sick and by myself and not in service where I can take care of some of these problems is exacerbating how I'm feeling. But let's start from the beginning. After spending nearly 2 weeks with friends down in Arizona, I was sick and tired, but it was time to head back north to California so I could finish the build and get back on the road later this summer. At this point, I had already started feeling pretty sick, but it was now or never. I knew that I didn't want to get worse and then have to drive, so I hit the road. Good morning, friends. I wasn't gonna make this week's video about this, but I don't really think that I can hide it, unfortunately. This is just having woken up, so I'm gonna take my medicine. I won't sound this bad the whole time, but I think the reality is there's no hiding that I'm sick. So it's gonna be a part of this week's video. So I just got to camp and I was gonna start saying something about how it's kind of a funky little spot. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make some coffee. I'm gonna make some coffee. And I opened my fridge. Oh my goodness. I opened my fridge and somehow my jars are still upright, but they've exploded. I did not go up in elevation that terribly much, but I had some soup. Oh my goodness. Everything is now in the sink. I had some soup in there that was in like a glass jar, the lid kind of like this, and the lid just like flew off. This lid was also off. Again, this was upright. The lids just flew off. So I was like, okay. And then I go to open my fridge, don't fall. And I'm like, I'm not impressed. Literally this whole door just fell off. Like, are you serious? So this is very much a when it rains, it pours types of situation, and I know that. But man, sometimes I really do wonder, and I'm not trying to preview anything. If anything, this just means it's my like signal to go back home and try to fix all of these things, get a return maybe on the fridge, I don't know, because it's literally busting. Fix my hot water line, probably replace my faucet since it's not the plug, it's the braided line. Ugh. And I really want to stay out here this weekend, but I'm getting to the point more and more where I'm like, I think I need service to do a lot of this. I need service to contact a medic about the fact that, oh god, it's leaking everywhere. The fact that their fridge broke after like 3 weeks of use. After all that with the build too, this is van life, road life. Like things break. Things break often, especially when you're, you know, living full time out here. Oh man. And the camper is, I mean, my goodness, compared to what it was, holy cow. This is a nice build. And I'm really, really proud of it. And I'm really excited to get it done and to fix all these things, but I don't want every week for a video to be realities of road life. I just want to enjoy it for a little bit. But alas, I'm done having a pity party for myself. I'm going to head back to town and try to do some research on where else I might be able to go this weekend, just because it is a holiday and it's going to be packed probably everywhere. And see if I can find somewhere that's at least semi-quiet, where I have service, and I can take care of some of these issues and hopefully rest and feel better. And just remember why I do this and why I love it so much. Because in times like these, it's easy to forget. Yeah, so I'll see you guys when I have all of that figured out. While this windy weather definitely was not what I had planned for this segment, we're gonna make the best of it with our new grill from Scody. Made of stainless steel and weighing in at only 6.6 pounds, this collapsible unit opens up into a grilling machine in just a few clicks, and when you're done, it cools off in under 20 minutes to be stowed away again inside of a slim canvas case until you're ready to use it next time. One of my favorite parts is that they avoid using bulky and inefficient propane tanks. Scody actually runs off of these small isobutane canisters that you can find at most outdoor stores in the cooking section, and uses less than a pound of fuel for every 4 to 6 hours of use depending on your flame level. One of the other benefits of Scody is that it's smoke-free. It's definitely not recommended to use it inside. If you do, as I am today because of the wind and you not being able to hear me outside, please make sure to open up windows, turn on fans, and vent it as you would any other gas appliance. And if you're like me and hate doing dishes, fret not. Cleanup is super easy. Throw it in the dishwasher or just use a soap sponge and it'll come clean in an instant. Now, if you guys are as impressed with Scody as I am, the ease of use, the efficiency, the packability, I mean, this thing literally packs down into something smaller than my laptop. Head down to the link in my description down below to check them out for more details and to snag one of your own for your next outdoor adventure. Well, in near perfect timing, the wind has finally started to calm down. It's still a little bit breezy. It's so much better than earlier. And just in time for dinner. But as I'm sure you gleaned from the title of this video, that's not all I have to talk about today. Earlier you saw kind of the worst part of my week. That day I broke a massive fever. My fridge, the shelf in it just snapped right off, which I'm gonna have to replace. I didn't have service, so I couldn't contact anyone. I couldn't get support or comfort. And it was really one of the first times on the road that I felt this overwhelmed. All the things happening at once and just feeling like I really had no control over it. And in that moment of struggle, I really thought about why I'm on the road. Times like that, when things are breaking, things are leaking, you're super sick, you have trash bags that haven't been tossed, you have laundry that hasn't been washed, you feel terrible, and you have no one else to lean on. It does cross your mind, at least it crosses mine, of why the heck am I doing this? And it doesn't help that left and right, I feel like on social media, at least these days, I'm seeing people quit van life, I'm getting off the road, it's too much, it's too hard, it's too this, it's too that. And I'm not judging anyone for those reasons. Obviously, we all have reasons for getting on or getting off the road or making any life decision. But when I'm having those days and I'm seeing everyone quitting and saying it's too hard, I have to check back in with myself and really remember why I'm doing this. You know, when I lived in an apartment,
I had to think about roommates, a landlord, when my rent was due, and all these other things that really just complicated life. There are things now that I do almost without a second thought. I do on my way to go do something else. And even though it is that extra step, it's really not that challenging. I think it just feels that way because when multiple of those things happen at once, you're the one responsible for them. You can't call a landlord or a plumber. You can't, get it taken care of very easily. And it can be a struggle. But I also think that struggle is so important. Before I got on the road, I found myself settling into a life that I didn't recognize myself in anymore. I saw this path in front of me working this government 9-to-5 job for 40 or 50 more years, as my boss mentioned, and I panicked because my life was predetermined. Contribute to my 401k, maybe go get a master's degree, find a partner one day, maybe have a family, buy a house, settle down, stay put. And I might still have those things laid out in front of me at some point in the future, but at least now I'm challenging those beliefs. And I don't know if any of this is making sense, so I hope I'm not going off on too big of a tangent. But I guess when I see people saying that van life is too hard and there's too many decisions to make and, I don't want to have to think about all of these things, I just want to live my life. That's part of the game, isn't it? That's part of the fun of it, is that you get to learn how to balance and juggle these things and go live your life. I guess what I'm saying is, I think that, and I'll speak for myself here, before getting on the road, I was very comfortable. I had a path, I was following it, and as long as I stayed course and nothing crazy happened, I pretty much knew how my life would pan out. And for someone like myself, that scared me. It was not exciting or comforting. It was scary because I didn't like where that path was leading. I knew that I wanted something different. And I guess what I'm getting at here is this week was such a good reminder of that for me, because I had all of these really hard moments, these moments where I questioned myself. I wondered why I was on the road, and then I recalled how I felt before I got on the road 2 years ago, before I even bought my first van, and how miserable I was. And the overwhelm and the struggle of this week, one, it doesn't even compare to the dread that I felt pursuing my old life. And second, I guess now I can say it feels like I'm finally living. I'm back to the basics in a lot of ways, but I'm also pursuing dreams that are bigger than I ever could have imagined when I was on my previous path.
At the end of the day, those of us living on the road are all out here for different reasons. No one greater than the other. But for me, the struggles and challenges are one of those reasons. Because without them, in the comforts of a stationary home, life might be easier and more comfortable, but there would also be no reason for me to grow.